$37 trillion vanishing right now, and you're paying for IT. That's not sci-fi. It's 2025. Global crypto flows exploding past $37 trillion, untracked, unregulated, unstoppable. While you sleep, billionaires move billions in dark pools and encrypted wallets. Your 401k, £1.3 trillion UK pensions, already tied to crypto ETFs. One rug pull, and it's gone. Have you checked your statement? Because the heist is live. Imagine waking up to a world where $37 trillion is moving in silence right under your nose. That's not a headline from the future. It's happening now. In 2025, global crypto flows are set to explode past $37 trillion, a number so massive it dwarfs the economies of entire nations. But here's the part no one's telling you. Most of this money isn't being tracked by governments or banks. It's slipping through the cracks, vanishing into encrypted wallets, offshore exchanges, and digital black holes. While the media obsesses over meme coins and TikTok millionaires, the real action is happening in private chat rooms and secretive dark pools, where billions can move in seconds unseen. Unregulated, unstoppable. And the stakes, they couldn't be higher. Everyday Americans and Brits are now exposed, often without even knowing it. Over $2.1 trillion in US 401k assets and £1.3 trillion in UK pensions are now linked to crypto ETFs and derivatives. Your retirement, your future, could be riding on the next Bitcoin crash or a single rug pull. Have you checked your pension lately? Because while you're watching your balance tick up, the real insiders are cashing out. In a world where $37 trillion can vanish or multiply overnight, the only question that matters is, are you ready for what comes next? What if I told you that the nest egg you've spent your whole life building, your 401k, your pension, your family's future, could be at risk, not from a market crash you see coming, but from a silent threat you never even noticed? In 2025, the rules of retirement have been rewritten, and most Americans and Brits have no idea just how exposed they really are. Right now, over $2.1 trillion in US 401k assets and £1.3 trillion in UK pensions are directly linked to crypto ETFs, derivatives, and high-risk financial products that didn't even exist a decade ago. That's not a rumor. That's straight from CNBC and BBC Finance. And it means your retirement could be riding on the next Bitcoin flash crash or the next rug pull that wipes out millions in seconds. Think about it. For decades, retirement was supposed to be safe, boring, predictable. You worked, you saved, you trusted the system. But in the last 2 years, as inflation soared and the New York Fed's debt ballooned to $18.59 trillion, pension funds and retirement managers started chasing yield wherever they could find it. The S&P 500's P/E ratio hit 30. Stocks looked dangerously overvalued, and bonds barely kept up with inflation. So what did the experts do? They started pouring your money into crypto-linked products, promising higher returns and diversification. But what they didn't tell you is that these new products come with risks no one fully understands, not even the regulators. And here's the part that should make you furious. Most people have no idea their retirement is even exposed. Have you checked your 401k or pension statement lately? Do you know what's really inside those diversified funds? Because while you're watching your balance tick up, the real insiders are hedging their bets, cashing out, and moving into safer havens like gold, cash, and hard assets. Meanwhile, everyday savers are left holding the bag when the music stops. In the UK, mortgage arrears have surged to 84,100 cases, and the Bank of England is warning about the risks of shadow banking and crypto exposure in the financial system. In the US, millions are watching their retirement dreams get eaten away by inflation, hidden fees, and the next big market shock. But the most chilling part, the system is rigged to protect those at the top. If a crypto crash wipes out billions, the hedge funds and billionaires will be the first to escape. Everyday savers, pensioners, and families will be the ones left picking up the pieces. So ask yourself, do you really know where your retirement money is? Are you prepared for a world where the old rules no longer apply, and the only winners are those who saw the danger coming? Because in 2025, the greatest threat to your financial future might not be a market crash you can see. It might be the risk you never even knew you were taking. Stay tuned, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between a comfortable retirement and a lifetime of regret. Imagine a number so colossal, so staggering, that it barely seems real. $18.59 trillion. That's the latest figure flashing across the screens of Wall Street and the world. The current debt load of the New York Federal Reserve. But this isn't just a statistic for economists to debate in ivory towers. This is the silent force shaping the fate of every American saver, every British pensioner, and every investor who still believes the dollar is untouchable. Because when the world's most powerful central bank racks up debt at this pace, the ripple effects are felt in every corner of the globe. Let's put this in perspective. Stack $1 trillion in $100 bills and you'd reach the edge of space. Multiply that by nearly 19, and you begin to grasp the scale of what's at stake. But here's the part that should make you sit up while politicians in Washington argue over budgets and spending. The world's sharpest billionaires, especially those in China, are watching with cold calculation. They see the writing on the wall. Every new trillion added to the Fed's balance sheet is a signal. The dollar's supremacy is no longer guaranteed. Inflation, once dismissed as transitory, is now a daily reality, quietly eroding the value of your paycheck, your savings, your retirement fund. And as the U.S. government borrows more to keep the system afloat, confidence in the dollar begins to crack, not just in Beijing or Moscow, but in London, Frankfurt, and even on Main Street, USA. The consequences are already unfolding. As the Fed's debt ballooned, gold imports to China surged 38%, and the world's savviest investors started moving their chips off the table. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha himself, is sitting on a record $381.7 billion in cash, refusing to play the game as usual. In the UK, the Bank of England is quietly warning about shadow banking risks, and mortgage arrears have soared to levels not seen since the last financial crisis. Meanwhile, everyday people are left wondering why their money doesn't go as far as it used to, why their 401k or pension seems stuck in quicksand, and why the cost of everything from groceries to gas to housing keeps climbing. But the real danger is what comes next. If the world loses faith in the dollar, if the Fed's debt becomes too big to ignore, the shockwaves could be catastrophic. Imagine waking up to find your savings slashed in half overnight, your investments wiped out, your financial future suddenly uncertain. It's happened before in Argentina, in Greece, in countless countries that thought it could never happen here. The question is, are you prepared for the possibility that the world's reserve currency could be the next domino to fall? And if the richest, most connected players are already hedging their bets, what should you be doing right now to protect yourself? The clock is ticking, and the next chapter in this story could be written sooner than anyone expects. What if I told you that the world's most legendary investor, the man who built his fortune by buying when everyone else was panicking, is now sitting on a mountain of cash so massive it could buy every home in a major American city twice? As of 2025, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is holding a staggering $381.7 billion in cash. According to Bloomberg, that's not just a record, it's a message, and it's sending shockwaves through Wall Street and Main Street alike. Why would the Oracle of Omaha, a man famous for pouncing on opportunity, suddenly refuse to play the game? What does he see coming that the rest of us don't? This isn't just a quirky move from an aging billionaire. It's a blaring siren for anyone paying attention. Buffett's cash mountain isn't about indecision, it's about preparation. He's watched the New York Fed's debt rocket to $18.59 trillion, seen the S&P 500's P/E ratio soar to 30, and witnessed the wild swings of meme stocks and cryptomanias. He knows that when markets are this frothy, when everyone is convinced the good times will never end, that's when the real danger lurks. And so, while others chase risk, Buffett is quietly building a war chest, waiting for the moment when panic returns and assets go on sale. It's a strategy that made him billions during the 2008 crash, and it's one he's doubling down on now. But here's where it gets even more intriguing and a little unsettling. Some insiders whisper that Buffett isn't just waiting for a stock market crash. They speculate he's eyeing gold, just like the Chinese billionaires who've triggered a 38% surge in gold imports this year. Remember, Buffett shocked the world in 2020 by buying into Barrick Gold, a move he once swore he'd never make. Is he preparing for a world where cash is king only until the dollar's crown slips? Where hard assets, not digital promises, are the true safe haven? The clues are there, if you know where to look, and the ripple effects stretch far beyond Omaha. In the UK, pension funds are on edge, with the Bank of England warning about shadow banking risks and mortgage arrears climbing to crisis levels. Everyday savers in the US and UK are left wondering, if the world's most trusted investor is hoarding cash, should I be worried about my 401k or ISA? Should I be rethinking everything I thought I knew about safe investments? Because when Buffett makes a move or refuses to make one, the world takes notice. The question is, will you act before the next storm hits? Or will you be left scrambling when the music stops? The answer could define your financial future. Picture this. The S&P 500's price-to-earnings ratio has soared to 30 a number. That should make every investor's heart skip a beat. For most people, that figure might sound like just another bit of financial jargon. But for those who know the history of markets, it's a blaring siren. A P/E ratio of 30 means investors are paying $30 for every dollar of company earnings, a level not seen since the feverish days of the dot-com bubble, right before it all came crashing down. But this time, the stakes are even higher. The world is awash in cheap money, central banks are still printing, and the average American or Brit is being told that stocks are the only way to keep up with inflation. But what if that advice is a trap? What if the real insiders, the billionaires, the hedge funds, the shadowy sovereign wealth managers are quietly preparing for a reckoning while the rest of us are being herded toward the edge of a cliff? Let's put this in perspective. The last time the S&P 500's P/E ratio hit these heights, fortunes were made and lost overnight. Back then, it was tech startups with no profits and wild promises. Today, it's everything tech, energy, consumer goods, even utilities pumped up by years of easy money and a desperate search for yield. Pension funds, for 101 kiloseconds, and ISA letters are all riding this wave, and the media keeps cheering it on. But beneath the surface, the smart money is getting nervous. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, is sitting on a record $381.7 billion in cash, refusing to buy at these prices. Chinese billionaires are pulling their wealth out of stocks and pouring it into gold, real estate, and hard assets. Even the Bank of England is warning about the risks of shadow banking and asset bubbles. So why is everyone else still piling in? The answer is as old as finance itself: FOMO, fear of missing out. No one wants to be the one who missed the rally, who sat on the sidelines while their neighbor got rich. But history is clear. When valuations get this stretched, the fall can be sudden and brutal. In the UK, mortgage arrears are quietly climbing, and pension funds are more exposed to risky assets than ever before. In the US, the New York Fed's debt has ballooned to $18.59 trillion, and inflation is eating away at real returns. Yet, the average saver is told to just keep buying. But what if the rules have changed? What if the next crash isn't just a correction, but a seismic shift in how wealth is built and lost? Here's the question you need to ask yourself. If the world's smartest investors are stepping back, if the P/E ratio is screaming danger, and if the richest are quietly moving their fortunes into safer havens, what should you be doing right now? Because when the music stops, it won't be the billionaires left without a chair, it'll be the everyday savers, the pensioners, the families who trusted the system. The S&P 500 at a P/E of 30 isn't just a number, it's a warning. Are you listening? Imagine lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you'll still have a roof over your head next month. For tens of thousands of families across the UK, this isn't just a nightmare, it's reality. In 2025, mortgage arrears have surged to a staggering 84,100 cases, the highest level since the dark days of 2008. But this isn't just a statistic. It's a silent crisis, spreading from London's leafy suburbs to the heart of Manchester. From the Scottish Highlands to the Welsh Valleys, behind every number is a family facing impossible choices: pay the mortgage or put food on the table, keep the lights on or keep the bank at bay. And while the headlines talk about arrears and defaults, what they're really describing is fear, raw, unfiltered, and growing by the day. But how did it come to this? The warning signs were there, hidden in plain sight. As interest rates crept higher and inflation quietly devoured paychecks, more and more families found themselves squeezed between rising bills and stagnant wages. The Bank of England, in a rare moment of candor, has sounded the alarm. The shadow banking sector, those unregulated lenders lurking outside the traditional system, is amplifying the risk. Suddenly, people who thought they were safe discovered their mortgages had been sold, repackaged, and passed around like hot potatoes, leaving them exposed to the whims of distant investors. And as the cost of living crisis deepened, the safety nets that once protected British homeowners began to fray. The ripple effects are impossible to ignore. Every missed payment doesn't just threaten a single family. It sends shockwaves through the entire economy. Local businesses suffer as spending dries up. Property values wobble, eroding the wealth of entire communities. Pension funds, many of which are heavily invested in mortgage-backed securities, start to feel the strain, putting the retirement dreams of millions at risk. And all the while, the headlines remain fixated on stock market highs and political drama, barely acknowledging the slow-motion disaster unfolding in neighborhoods across the country. But here's the most chilling part: this surge in arrears isn't just a British problem. It's a warning to the world. In the U.S., rising debt and stagnant wages echo the same dangerous pattern. In China, billionaires are hoarding gold, sensing that the global financial system is more fragile than ever. The question is, if 84,100 British families can be pushed to the brink so quickly, how safe is anyone anywhere? And as the gap between the wealthy elite and everyday people widens, what will it take for the world to finally pay attention? The next chapter in this crisis is being written right now, and your home, your savings, and your future could be on the line. So here we are, edge of a financial cliff, $37 trillion crypto flows, $18.59 Fed debt, 84,100 UK families crushed, S&P PE screaming 30, billionaires hoard gold, shadow banks strike in the dark, the old rules, dead. Now the spotlight's on you. Will you scramble when the music stops, or build your lifeboat now? Ask yourself, checked your 401k, pension, savings? The next shock won't knock, it'll hit. Good news, you still have time. Demand answers, diversify, steal their playbook. Because hope isn't a plan, action is. So what's your move? Comment below your biggest money fear, one step you're taking today. Hit subscribe, bell on. Tomorrow's video could save your future. 20 to 5 is here. The heist is live. Will you watch or win?